The Ravens Preview Show with Andy Pollin starts right now.
It wasn't perfect, it wasn't pretty, but it was the Ravens.
Listen to all Ravens broadcasts right here on 6:30 a.m., the ESPN 630 app, or ESPN630DC.com.
And with 1:17 left to play, the Hayes in the barn.
Now, here's Andy Pollin.
Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs, 3 o'clock kickoff, M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday. Ravens favored by 3.5. We will hear from John Harbaugh and also Roquan Smith and Lamar Jackson coming up. But we have Jonas Schaffer of the Baltimore Banner with us. And this, to me, is one of those years with the Ravens, and I think we've seen it with very few NFL teams over the years, where you look at them and you go, well, what am I missing here? This is an unbelievable defense. The offense is terrific. They have the best kicker in the history of the game. How can they possibly lose? Do you find yourself, as someone who follows this team as closely as you do, asking those questions?
Yeah, it was a little surprising, honestly, that the line, when it came out, was only a field goal, because I feel like the Ravens, in so many areas of this game, have the upper hand. But, you know, if it were anybody but Patrick Mahomes, anybody but the Chiefs, I think it would be the case that this is not just a field goal spread, but it is Patrick Mahomes, and you do not want to bet against that man as an underdog. So I feel, in a lot of ways, more confident about this Ravens team coming into this game than I did against the Texans, because I think I was hung up on the playoff demons that have haunted Lamar Jackson, or had haunted Lamar Jackson. But I just feel really, really good about where this team is right now, especially, you know, with another day of rest, with this home crowd, with the Chiefs never having played on the road in an AFC Championship game. It's, you know, I am probably way too confident in the Ravens winning, considering who stands on the other sideline for Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I continue to ask the question, well, what am I missing here? Because this should be like a 10-point win, and, you know, without a special teams gaffe like they had last week against Houston, defense is good enough to really pitch a shutout here. And the offense, I mean, I'm starting to think in terms of them with the other great teams that we think about in the past, the 85 Bears, whose offense I don't think matches up with this offense. The 49ers teams of the late 80s, they were terrific too. I mean, they seem to be in that conversation, and they're playing well at the right time. Ravens, yeah, they played really well last week against Buffalo, but they dipped at the end of the season. And health, I mean, on top of everything else, right? Mark Andrews is coming back for this game. Must have hit a bad cell spot. We're talking to Jonas Schaffer.
Sorry, I got you.
There we go.
Man.
Okay, yeah. I was just mentioning the fact that they are playing well at the right time. Plus, unlike most teams this time of year, they're healthy.
Yeah, and it looks like Mark Andrews was just activated off IR, so he is in line to play on Sunday. Don't know if he's going to be anywhere close to the Mark Andrews who started the season health-wise, but they are probably maybe going to get Marlon Humphrey back. You know, only a limited participant on Wednesday and Thursday, but anytime you can get, you know, a former All-Pro, former Pro Bowl cornerback, add into a defense that was playing lights out already, the vibes are good, man.
Yeah. I don't know how much you can read into the last meeting, because it was a few years ago. It was 2021. But this was a shootout. This is not what I would expect on Sunday, but the Ravens won that game 36-35 with Lamar scoring a touchdown on the ground in the last minute of the game. Do you expect this to be high scoring? I mean, maybe the rain plays a factor in the second half, but, you know, with the defenses, both defenses really, do you think this game could be played conceivably in the 30s?
My prediction for this one was Ravens 28, Chiefs 20. Maybe I'm underselling the Chiefs' ability to score a lot of points. Obviously, if there are a lot of turnovers, then, you know, short fields could really do both these teams a lot of help in putting up points. But I just look at what this Chiefs offensive line is dealing with Joe Thuney, and you know, Mahomes is one of the best in the game at, you know, avoiding sacks when he's pressured, but he has not been good this year when he has been pressured in terms of just passing. Like his accuracy is under 50%. He's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. His yards per attempt are all the way down. A lot of that is, receivers not helping him out, receivers dropping passes, receivers knocking balls into interceptions. That guy like Brian Branch returned for a touchdown. So I think the trickle-down effect of, Joe Thuney going out, hurting that running game, hurting the Chiefs' ability to play with play action really can't be overstated. And I think that the Chiefs are really going to need a lot of help if they want to score more than 25 points.
Yeah, I mean, and a game like this, always turnovers and mistakes, play a big factor. But by and large, this has been a team that's pretty much stayed out of big mistakes, aside from that punt return last week. And also, a lot of people were watching the first half last week, and I'm following on Twitter and go, same old playoff Ravens. How much do you think that was rust going into that game last week against Houston?
I think it was a little bit of rust. None of the players really copped afterwards to there being some rust. We talked to Todd Monken yesterday. He said, sometimes things just don't work. The adjustments that the Ravens were able to make at halftime were important, but it wasn't like, Todd Monken didn't feel like the Ravens needed halftime to get to that point where they changed things up, where Lamar got rid of the ball a little more quickly than normal. Guys ran shorter routes so that they were more available underneath as opposed to downfield. There's also just the fact that when Lamar is blitzed, things can go two ways. He can either be incredible, unbeatable, or he can struggle, or this offensive line can be a little bit leaky. Lamar's been great since the bye, since about week 14, one of the NFL's best quarterbacks against the blitz. Steve Spagnuolo loves to blitz. I think the Chiefs are like fifth in blitz rate this year, so I would expect to see a lot of 5-man, 6-man pressures. But you are playing with fire when you do that. And I think the fact that the Ravens, are healthy this week, they've been able to get in that extra day of rest, recovery, preparation, will only pay dividends for them.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Todd Monken, and when he came on, it was like, well, they were much too run heavy in the past, and now we're going to see them pass the ball a lot more. In a lot of these games, Lamar is throwing for like 150 yards, but his accuracy is so much improved now that when he does make those passes, he's completing them. He's not, 150 yards on very few attempts, and of course, his continuing threat to run. But it just seems like that has really added a whole new dimension to what they do offensively.
Yeah, I mean, he has 3 games of perfect passer rating in his career, and I don't think in any of those games he attempted more than like 25 passes, because when things are rolling for that offense, they're scoring a lot of points. You're sitting on the defense with the rushing attack. That's something we haven't talked about, just how well this Ravens rushing attack matches up against this Kansas City run defense. I think they were 27th in DVOA. They could be without Willie Gay. They could be without their starting safety Edwards. Derek Nottie, who was a 17-game starter for them up front, hasn't played. He hurt that triceps against the Dolphins the wild card round. So they bowed up when they had to against Buffalo, but this is a different animal with Lamar Jackson back there. Yeah,
and what do you expect from the crowd tomorrow? We saw some of it last week, but this is the first AFC Championship game in Baltimore in over 50 years. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it's going to be loud, man. I think you want to say with what happened for Houston could happen for Kansas City. The Texans had 6 pre-snap penalties, 5 false starts, 1 delay of game. But then you look at what Kansas City did at a Highmark Stadium. That's an incredibly loud crowd, incredibly nasty crowd. The Chiefs use a lot of motion, so it's not like their pre-snap stuff is simple and straightforward. But they didn't have a single pre-snap penalty. The one pre-snap penalty in that game, ironically enough, was by Buffalo. I think it was like a false start coming out of a timeout. So the Chiefs, with Reed, Mahomes, just totally professionals at every level. But it's going to be a new beast in Baltimore, especially with fans paying thousands of dollars just to get in.
Yeah, and some of them looking up in the suites to see if they can get a glimpse of Taylor Swift. Well, I guess it's going to be there, right? And they're bringing the whole crazy family with the shirtless Kelsey brother and all that. I'm sure that whole show is coming to Baltimore on Sunday, right?
Yeah, I think there are some Eagles reporters from the Inquirer coming down for just that purpose.
Wow, that's great. That's crazy. Okay, so again, you like the Ravens to win 28-20, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, good to talk to you. Thanks so much, Jonas.
Thank you. Take care, man.
That's Jonas Schaffer, Baltimore Banner. And I can see that easily. I could even see, sometimes the bottom just falls out, as much of a dynasty really as Kansas City has been, going to multiple Super Bowls, winning 2 of them with Patrick Mahomes. Sometimes you just get to this point, and, we saw this. It's a long time ago, but I think of the Redskin teams where they won in '82, and they were even better in the regular season in '83. They won their first playoff game against the Rams 51-7. They got by the San Francisco 49ers, who were about to take the torch in that period of time, and they got to the Super Bowl against the Raiders, and they lost 31-9. This is not the Super Bowl, but I could see that happening to Kansas City. I could also see, certain things happening and the Ravens not responding as well, and the experience of Kansas City taking over and winning the game. But we'll see. That's why they play the game. Coming up, comments from John Harbaugh, Roquan Smith, Lamar Jackson, and others as we continue with Ravens preview here on ESPN 630.
Ravens on 3, 1, 2, 3.
This is the Ravens Preview Show presented by Verizon. Here's Andy Pollin.
Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs, AFC Championship game, 3 o'clock Sunday, M&T Bank Stadium. This is the 13th meeting ever between the two teams. Kansas City leads the series 7-5. They met once in the playoffs. That was 2011, and it was at Kansas City, and the Ravens won big 30-7. The last meeting was in September of 2021, and the Ravens won 36-35. Lamar Jackson scoring on a 2-yard touchdown run with 47 seconds left to go. He ran for 107 yards and threw for 234. Patrick Mahomes in that game, 343 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Between the two of them, only 1 sack in that entire game. So they go at it again on Sunday. Ravens favored by 3.5 and buoyed by their performance at the end of the year, where they had that incredible week where they blew out the 49ers on Monday night in San Francisco and then came home and embarrassed the Miami Dolphins. Here's John Harbaugh on the stretch.
I think all those things forge you as a team. You get to this point, teams are forged. They've been through a lot. Our story, our journey is our journey, right? And it's unique. It's no different than human beings or individuals. Everybody's on their own unique path, and our path is our path. And we've had, a lot of short weeks, a lot of quick turnarounds, a lot of tough teams we've played, a lot of physical ball games, teams that were playing for a lot. That's been our journey this year. So that's how we've been forged for this moment.
And they are favored. They're favored by 3.5, but it is the Kansas City Chiefs that are coming here, defending Super Bowl champions, and they've been through this rodeo. They have played in AFC championship games. This group has not. The last time that happened was during the 2012 season when they went on to win the Super Bowl. So Harbaugh decided to pull out a little analogy from the movies.
It's like the Hoosiers movie, right? I mean, have you seen that movie, Sean? You know it. Like, and I got to say it to our team because I bet our players haven't seen it. If I gave them that reference, I mean, 10 feet high. The free throw line is it 10 feet? So it's 100 yards long and 53 1/3 yards wide. The field doesn't change. The hash marks are on the same spot. So really, our guys understand that. They've understood that all year. Your focus is always going to be on just playing your best football game, and all the details that go into that, one play at a time. That's what my mom always says, so I'll go with that advice.
Yeah, the mom is quite a pistol in the family, apparently. The father is the patriarch, Jack Harbaugh, who is a great coach himself, won a national championship at the Division I AA level. The movie that he's referencing, Hoosiers, and the scene that he's referencing, remember Gene Hackman with this?
Measure this from the rim. Buddy? How far?
10 feet.
10 feet. I think you'll find it's exact same measurements as our gym back in Hickory. Okay, let's get dressed for practice.
Tell me you don't have chill bumps, right? When he puts Pee-wee on his shoulders and they take the tape measure down and Buddy measures it to the floor. Come on, that's a great scene. Good for Harbaugh for pulling it out. Also tells you how old you might be, because that movie came out in 1986. So, man, hard to believe that's 38 years ago, about a movie that had been set like 35 years earlier. Just incredible. But good pull for Harbaugh on that. Roquan Smith, if you were going to design a linebacker, he would look like Roquan Smith, he would play like Roquan Smith, and he would talk like Roquan Smith. This is some of his news conference the other day talking about the old adage that, hey, offenses are great, but defenses win championships.
Yeah, you definitely hear a lot of things about the offense and defense win championships. And, each and every guy, we know, it's a team game at the end of the day. But if we dictate things on our terms and keep getting the ball back to Lamar, hey, it's going to be a long day for whichever other defense is out there in the field. But I have the utmost faith in every single guy, and we're going to do everything it takes to make sure we get the job done by any means necessary.
The other thing I love about him, he understands history, and he is, I think NFL Films did a feature on this of Roquan Smith watching film with Ray Lewis. Not quite exactly in the mold of Ray Lewis, but in leadership and the way he handles himself out on the field, there are a lot of similarities, and Smith is very much aware of the history of the purple and black.
There's definitely a lot of history here for the short years that the Ravens been a part of the league since 96. A lot of history, but just being able to bring a championship game back to Baltimore, that's definitely huge. Don't take that lightly. Definitely with the fans, man. The fans come in live, especially last week, so it's going to be definitely huge for those guys this week. And at the end of the day, it just goes back to each and every guy doing what we do, and that's just playing our style of ball, punishing every cat, and letting everyone know after they, get hit by us, like you got hit by the Ravens, and, send a message to, hey, I don't want to play that team again. That's how we are. That's how we are, and we just want to impose our will, play in and play out.
You describe Isaiah Pacheco, the way he runs, and the idea you both seem to have a ferocity that could get together a couple times this week.
Yeah, I'm excited for the matchup. Hats off to. I tip my hat off to anybody that runs the ball hard, and you bring it every single game, every single play. I love that because at the end of the day, one is going to have to break, and I don't plan to be on that breaking end.
What did Mike Singletary say? Come on, I like that kind of party. I'll be here all day. And this is the kind of talk that coaches love, especially defensive coaches. They love to hear a linebacker talk like this when he talks about defending his space at M&T Bank Stadium.
I think it's an edge of defending your turf. Any man that has a chance, someone's trying to come in and take something for you that you've worked your entire life for. And if you need any more added substance to that, then what are you playing the game for, in my opinion? So it's about mano, this man across from me, what are you going to do to make sure we advance? And that's what I think it boils down to at the end of the day. And if you need any more hype or anything like that, like I said, you're playing it for the wrong reason. Hey, I know I'm playing it for the right reason. I'm trying to punish a cat every chance I get.
Punish a cat every chance I get. Yeah, he's not a drafted Raven, guy they picked up from Chicago. What an acquisition last year as he's become the clear leader of that defense. As for Lamar Jackson, he is trying to get to a place where he's never been before, to the Super Bowl. He's never gotten this far, to the AFC Championship game, but he's got his eyes on a much bigger prize.
To be honest, Cordell, it doesn't mean anything right now. We still locked in on, the prize, that what we're chasing right now. So it really doesn't change nothing until we complete the mission.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, it's like the old, I love that John Thompson line after they won the Big East Championship and he had the net around his neck and he says, "These aren't the strings that I want." One of the NCAA championship. More from this game, Patrick Mahomes, as we go over to the Kansas City side. Patrick Mahomes has had these matchups, and he had one last week with Josh Allen. Now he's got a matchup with a lot on the line with Lamar Jackson, and the respect obviously is mutual.
It's a tall task. You got to go out there and play your best football, and if you make any mistakes, it seems like the game's going to go the other way. So we've been able to play in a couple games, not in a few years now. But I've admired watching him from afar and know that it's going to be a great challenge for us every time we go up against him.
Is there a type of challenge facing a guy like that that's at a high level this year?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's going to be the MVP for a reason. I mean, he goes out there, he leads his team, he scores, he runs, he throws, he does whatever it takes to win, and that's what the greats do. And like I said, it'll be a great challenge for our defense, but also a great challenge for our offense going against their defense. So it's going to take a full team effort if we want to find a way to get a win.
Are there parts of his game that you particularly appreciate?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you like to see in other quarterbacks is how they improve every single year. And obviously, everybody talked about his running, but you can see how he's developed as a passer, throwing from within the pocket, arm angles, making the accurate throw in big situations and big moments. And that's what the great quarterbacks do. And he continues to get better and better every single year. And so I knew we were going to play in a lot of games like this as our career's gone on, and I'm sure this will be the first of many.
Yeah, could it be the new Brady and Manning? Who knows? And they've been around for a while, both of them, but still very young quarterbacks. And is it possible that we will see a whole bunch of AFC playoff games and even more championships like this in the years to come? Last thing is from Andy Reid, who has won Super Bowls. He's been to Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's won at home and he's won on the road. And frankly, the big buildup of last week, can Patrick Mahomes win on the road? That was answered in Buffalo. And as Reid says, it's not that big of a deal for a veteran team like that that's won Super Bowls to be playing playoff games on the road.
I didn't think much of the, going on the road and playing would be, that much different. Because we do it during the season, and you've had some crowds. Green Bay was a wild crowd, loud, packed up there, and other places. That we've gone are well. So I didn't look at it that bad. And then on top of that, that's a great environment up there to play a game in. So even though they're against you, it's really, that's football right there, and they love their team and they're passionate, very similar to coming in here to Arrowhead. So it's a great environment, and that's the way I've tried to look at that.
Okay, so again, how's he going to prepare his team? Is he going to say, you got to be aware of the noise at M&T Bank Stadium? Yeah, they've been on the road. They've been on the road before. Yes, they've pretty much had a clear path at home to get to Super Bowls in the past, but I think they're well prepared to go into this game. Should be just a tremendous football game. 3 o'clock start, M&T Bank Stadium, and then the Lions and the 49ers will play in the 6:30 game in the NFC, and the winners will meet in Super Bowl 58, which will be 2 weeks from Sunday in Las Vegas, as the Ravens will go for their third Super Bowl championship if they can get by Kansas City on Sunday. Want to thank Jonas Schaffer for joining us today, Rex Minturn for running the show. Thanks to all of you who listen. Mike Callow is in for Tony next, and I'll see you after the championship games on Monday at 9 a.m.